I look like some wanker here. Jesus Christ. I may have terminal brain cancer, but I'm using that against itself to raise the most amount of money ever for running a marathon. Right now, I am doing a half marathon in every single one of the counties of Ireland, all 32, all while wearing a 32 kilo weight vest. But I don't ask you guys for donations. All I ask you to do is subscribe so that I'm able to get more sponsors who will donate on your behalf, because in doing that, it is completely unique, and that means I'm the first person ever to do that. And I think it's more important for me to be able to say that I'm the first person to do something rather than the best, because first is eternal. Best can be beaten by the next person. Whew. And that's the intro rant, to try and get people to know the reason why I'm doing these daily diary entries. I'm very sorry for the people who are the regular sponsors and they hear that all the live long day, but I feel like it's a necessity. So you're gonna have to just learn to skip past that, because otherwise people will just hear me blabbing and they won't watch the rest of the video. All these new diary entries, the thing that I'm doing is I try to answer the questions or stick to the subject matter that have been selected from the previous daily entry. And so there's 5 subject matters that we're going to go through today. So the first one is a tree idea someone suggested, which I actually think is a great idea. The second one is a Darth Vader idea that someone suggested, which I think is a great idea. Someone asked if I would tell a funny story previously from my life, so I've got one. And then someone told a story of how I was a little bit of a hero or something, and I have a good one for that. And then the last one was someone was asking why I'm raising money for the American Cancer Society instead of the other cancer societies, such as, like, Cancer Research UK or the Irish Cancer Society. I think I'll start with that one. So the reason that I'm raising money for the American Cancer Society rather than any of the sort of more seemingly sensible ones. I live in London, I'm from Ireland. Why am I doing it for the American Cancer Society? And the answer is very simple. It's just because the demographic of most of my audience, I've got a big audience, is American. And that's not actually much of a surprise whatsoever if you think about it, because what I'm trying to achieve is something that is very international. Cancer is an international disease. It's not like local to Ireland, it's not local to the UK. And so it affects all of us so much. And the population of America is just significantly more than Ireland and the UK combined. So it's not really much of a surprise that more people that follow my channel, we're nearly at 8 million on Instagram alone, but it's not a surprise that that is full of Americans, just because there's more of them. And so I chose the American Cancer Society because if I'm trying to break a world record, it's going to resonate with most of my audience. So, play to the crowd, play to the audience. I don't have anything, I don't have any bad will against either of the other charities. It's just the one that made most sense. My life goal is to break a charity world record. It does mean a lot to me. To give the money to a meaningful cause is certainly important, but I am not as altruistic as people like to think, and I never try to make myself out to be. I am trying to do something that is meaningful, but it's for me. It's like the challenge against myself. Can I achieve this? Can I put myself through the hardships in order to do this thing in a completely unique way? That's a really big one for me. The fact that no one else has ever done it, and it makes me the first person to do it. And I just really love the idea that I came up with this kind of new concept, and it worked. And it's already working, by the way. We've raised more than $500,000 now from this system. So hopefully if I do it, if I break that charity world record, others will follow. And I'd like to think that it'll change things for the better, where people start prioritizing success in a different way and not focusing on shiny things and things that go vroom vroom really quickly. Because while I don't have anything against that, I think there's a too much of a focus on it when people don't actually want it, and they end up with this kind of emptiness of what's deemed to be successful. Moving on, the next thing is the funny story of how I was a little hero. Okay, this isn't to feed my ego too much, but I was in university and someone stole a drink from me when we were in a club. I pinched my drink and I seen them do it, and I went over and I was like, right, here, buy me another drink. I seen you pinching mine, and I caught him out on it, and he was like, oh no, I can't buy you another drink, I don't have the money, and blah 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 blah. And I was just sort of like, no, you're buying me a drink, or I'm gonna speak to the, actually no, I didn't say that. I was like, you're buying me a drink, I'm not letting you get away with this, I seen you do it. And he was it wasn't getting towards the fighty stuff, but I wasn't letting him get away with it. And I was significantly larger than this guy. And then it was like, I can't remember exactly how it happened, but a kind of a group started forging around us, because I think a lot of people were thinking like, this might turn into a scrap, these guys are not getting along, they're kind of like speaking quite sort of aggressively at one another. And then he kind of went like, well, like, I'm not going to get you another drink, what do you want to do, like, fight me about it or something? And then I kind of shouted at him like, no, I'm not going to fight you. I don't need to prove myself in a scrap for you just because you robbed a fiver of a drink off me. And everybody who was like kind of gathering around in the little circle just started laughing their heads off. And I didn't really think that I was like doing something that witty. There we go, they must understand what I'm doing. But I didn't think it was that particularly witty of a remark or whatever. But afterwards he just looked so like belittled, like, no, I'm not a fucking child. And he just sort of hanged his head down. And then fairly soon after, the bouncer came out and just kicked him out of the bar. And it was just like, it's not like everyone was like cheering for me or anything like that, but it was just like, it was a deep sense of satisfaction that I kind of felt from the people that were around and looking. That was, how you doing? That was, oh God, it's so weird doing that when you're on your own. I really don't like walking around like in a town. Very much looking forward to getting onto the greenways, but we were kind of in a bit of a pinch, and this is the only way that we actually could do a route. Anyway, that's my little hero story of how I saved the day. Oh, wasn't I so great calling a person out for stealing my drink? Oh, they should write poems about me. Next is the funny story. So the funny story that I have, someone asked me to tell us. How you doing? How are you? Good. You gonna donate, are you? See you now. On tip. Story. I was on a music festival with my friend Fuzzy Fulton, and we were going there, and it was called Oxygen, and it had like a lineup, and I think Beyonce had done Glastonbury and Oxygen was on after it. And we were going in, we had our own choices of like, I want to see this, I want to see that, I want to see this and that and that. And I wanted to see the National was one of the bands that I really wanted to see. I still haven't seen them, they're very high on my list. And Fuzzy, he only had one thing, he was like, I want to see Beyonce. I seen clips of her at Glastonbury and she was an absolute icon, it was class. And so that's the only person on my list. Everything else, I couldn't care. And now it was just me and Fuzzy. It was kind of last minute, and so we didn't have any mates that we were going with. So it was me and Fuzzy for pretty much the whole of the festival. We got to the thing, and I was like, okay, 8:00 today. That's the National. They clash at the same time, and so I was like, oh God, no, I can't. I don't want to miss the National. Oh, they're class, and they have this new album, and blah 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 blah. And Fulton, he was just like, no, come on, Ian, cop to fuck. There was only one request that I wanted to do. I wanted to see Beyonce, and I went to all the other gigs. And Fulton's gay, and so I was just typically in my head being like, typical gay lad, he just wants to see Beyonce, of course he does, doing all this sort of stuff. And then I was like, all right, well, of course I'm going to go see Beyonce with my mate. He's been doing all the other stuff in my having fun out and like kind of appeasing to me and coming to all the gigs I wanted to. So I was like, all right, come on, go on, off you go. You've got to fucking go with your friend. It's a dickhead thing to do otherwise. And so we went, and it ended up being easily one of the best gigs I have ever been to. She was like Freddie Mercury, just had the crowd by her hand the whole time, controlling everything. It was incredible, one of the most incredible gigs. But then not only that, most of the audience, pretty much all the audience was female. And I'd imagine that all the other lads that were at the at Oxygen had a similar sort of childish, stupid brain in their heads where it's like, I'm not going to see Beyonce, that's for girls, that's not for me, I'm a big strong young man, I'm cool. And so I was there, and me and Fulton, because it was mostly a female audience, we just could see the stage so much more because we're a bit taller than everybody else. And Fulton loves wine, and he snuck a bottle of wine in there. And so we were in the centre of the stage, or in the centre of the audience, swinging wine around to like, halo, halo, halo. was just brilliant. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was, and it just made my day, and I'll always remember that gig so much. It was just so fun. So that is the funny story. What else was on the list? Ah yes, the Darth Vader. Actually, I'm wearing the proper kind of gear, the weighted gear for the Darth Vader thing. Someone suggested as a live stream request that if someone donates a certain amount of money, that I dress up as Darth Vader. And we can't really do that just because we don't have the time to get the costume, and we wouldn't be able to like kind of get into a Darth Vader outfit quickly enough for it to be a decent request. But I was thinking that in the future, I do like a thing every 4th of May where I do a big walk that's about a half marathon long around Regis Park, and I draw Millennium Falcon, and it actually looks pretty good. I'll try and do an overlay to show you guys. It actually does look pretty good. It's like a Strava mapping thing, and so I reckon that though I might not be able to do that idea during this 32 challenge thing, I think it would actually be a really cool thing to like put weights, really heavy weights all over my body, because they'd mostly be like, you know, kind of black. I'll show you a better angle here. So if you can see that there, like it kind of looks like a buoyancy aid. I can assure you it's quite the opposite. But if you can imagine all of that and then a black cape and then like, you know, weights on the arms and weights on the legs and make it really heavy. I think even the way that I would move, I would actually kind of move a little bit by Darth Vader, because like he kind of has this like doof walk to him. He doesn't walk fast ever, you know, he never seems sprint. And so I think I'd visually I got it in the end, look like Darth Vader, and I could kind of make this charity gig out of it where it's like walking a half marathon, drawing the Millennium Falcon on Strava while wearing like a huge amount, or like a really impressive amount of weight that people like, oh, what? Now, one of the problems with that though, not problems, well, one of the things that I'm trying to think of, what would be either a significant number of money that someone would donate to justify that, or money to raise as a target, and then also how much would we try to have as a weight that would be somehow relevant to Star Wars, you know, like what's a Star Wars number? The Kessel Run, where it's like, oh, you did the Kessel Run in, you know, 15 what did you say, light years or something. I remember they got it wrong where it's like parsecs. Yeah, they use parsecs for it. He did the Kessel Run in 13 parsecs.
You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon?
Should I have?
It's a ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
This is a ship that made the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs.
12!
So we can make something like that where it's like, okay, I'm doing the thing in like, you know, 13 kilos. That's not that heavy, but like we'd come up with something like that. 130 kilos, that'd be insane. 130 pounds, I don't know, maybe that might be the right number. But anyway, that's the kind of thing. If you have a suggestion for a good Star Wars number that we could kind of have as like the amount of weight that I'd carry on Star Wars Day on May the 4th be with you, I will hear it. What was the other one? Yes, planting a tree. So someone else made that as a suggestion, and I actually think that is an amazing idea. Again, I don't think we'd be able to do it as part of the 32 county thing, but I think in the future we could try and do some sort of a charity event where it's like, hey, for every £5 raised, Ian has to plant a tree in one day, and or non-stop, and then make it a physical challenge in itself where I have to plant this many trees, and so like a huge amount of manual labor. I think it's the kind of thing that would make so many people happy. Like even if it's someone who's like, you know, a big oil tycoon, solar power is fake and wind power is fake, and we need to get focus on fossil fuels more. Like even people like that, there's no denying where it's like, yeah, we need more forests, because if we don't have them, we die. Forests is literally how we get oxygen. They take in the carbon dioxide and then breathe out the oxygen. Anyone who's involved, anyone who's an environmentalist, and I think even if you're not into anything that's like kind of close to related like that, the challenge itself of like planting all those trees, it's just so kind of basic and caveman-esque, where it's just like you're planting a tree, another one, getting your hands dirty, I see just appealing to so many people that it would be a cool thing for you to watch, where it's like he's planting another tree, he's planting another tree, he's planting another tree, and he's going to do it all in one day. You know, afterwards it's like showing the hands and there's blood and blisters all over the hands, and then afterwards it's like money was raised before doing this thing, and then this thing itself of planting all those trees, that's almost a charity thing in itself, you know? Some people would raise money to like plant trees, and I'd be raising money for cancer, but then plant trees as a punishment. So, you know, it just covers so many different areas that are appealing to just a mass audience. And that's the last of the 5 points that people wanted me to speak about. So that's the end of the diary entry. Tomorrow we have Leitrim, which I hope we have some nice weather for, because we are going to be up in an adventure centre that is just really cool. And then we're doing James Doyle is going to be the guest, my protein bar guy, if you know him. And also Tojo, who I was with 2 years ago when I was doing the 32. We're back in his adventure zone, in his adventure area, which I'm really looking forward to. We're going to be doing a spa afterwards, or sauna afterwards, and getting into the ice baths, and it's going to be great. He's a Paralympian who is on the Irish cycling team. So we're going to have two huge units. And James did a half marathon. He ran a half marathon recently enough, and he's a big boy, but he did it in 2 hours. So yeah, he's fit and he's ready. And yeah, before we go, like and subscribe, of course. This is YouTube. Like and subscribe. Tell me what you liked. Tell me what you didn't like about this video. Any kind of critique that you have, no matter how much you think it is, like, you know, oh, I don't want to offend you with this, but I think, like, you know, the sound quality was shit. I think the light was terrible. Like, and I know you didn't really have an option. The weather was bad. The previous one looked really good. But like, those kind of things are worth me hearing from, because it just means that I will avoid doing them in the future if I can. If it's like, it's raining now, it's not raining in an hour, I'll do the daily thing in an hour. I will adhere to your suggestions. Me doing the 5 points of subject matter that you guys have suggested, that was something that you guys wanted, so I listened to it. Because at the end of the day, if you are not entertained, then you won't continue watching. You want to support this, you want me to break a charity world record, because cancer affects us all in some way, whether it be us getting cancer ourselves or whether it be our loved ones getting cancer. It's like the Thanos snap. If you can imagine me clicking my hands right now, but I can't because I got 2 cameras, like an absolute social media mega wanker in my hands right now. That's what it's like. Cancer is like the Thanos snap. Some people are affected by it directly, it gets into their body, and some people are not, but they still suffer from their loved ones not being around. Oh, isn't that perfect? Isn't that perfect? 21 kilometers. Oh, that's like the gods. The gods are telling me, yep, your daily diary entry is finished. There's no way I could beat finishing on that. That's just such a perfect time to finish. So yeah, like and subscribe and comment what you want in the next video. Any kind of a subject matter is absolutely fine for me. There's nothing that you could possibly ask me that I wouldn't be willing to speak about.